Hello and welcome to today's guide. So we are going to be going through how I apply decals on a flat surface. So we will look at irregular surfaces in another video. I do have a decal application tutorial or guide already available, but I thought I'd update it slightly and perhaps give a little bit more info, and also try not to reinvent the wheel and make this as quick as I possibly can. So some things we need to remember in this step-by-step page. Gloss varnish the surface first. That's very important. That's going to protect the surface and give our decal a flat surface to work on. And then we're going to apply microset to the area in which the decal is going to be applied. We're then going to soak that decal in water. We're then going to remove the decal, put it where we want to, ensure all the fluid or water has been removed from the decal, and then gloss varnish the surface once it's dry. So once you've snipped your decals to the size that you want, I use scissors. People use Stanley knives, whatever you want to use. Scissors is fine with me. I've got my microset and micro sole here. I'm not going to be using the micro sole though. Microset is what we're going to be using for this video or guide. But before I do all of that, as I said, we want to make sure that we've got that semi-gloss varnish applied to the actual model before we're putting the decal down, and then we apply this micro set. So the micro set is a setting solution for decals. It softens decals and it improves adhesion to that surface. That's what we're going to be trying to do here. Look, do you really need it on a flat surface? As long as you've got that gloss varnish or semi-gloss varnish down, it might not be required. I've had great results with micro set and micro sole. So I would recommend getting a bottle. But if you don't need to, if you don't have the money, you can go ahead and not bother with it, which you'll see in a little bit. It's just really such a straightforward process. So once you've aligned that decal up nicely, using that water, so this is straight from the water, I'm using the brush and I'm realigning it how I want to align it. You can see when all of them are together, you've got that clear film between each number. So we want to sort of hide that. It will be glossy, it will shine. You can't just leave it on there, obviously. If you touch it, it will come off with your finger even when it's dry. Even though that micro set will help it adhere to that surface just a little bit better than what it would do if you just left water, hence why we use it. So once we've left it for a little while, we can go ahead and get a cotton bud, and you can see that I'm rolling from the middle outwards, and that's ensuring that any excess fluid or liquid that is left underneath that decal is now being removed. If you were to then leave a little bit of that fluid underneath that decal and then apply your varnish once you've finished, you're going to get bubbling effects. Now you can remove those just by using a pin, but doing this step now is going to just save you quite a bit of work. So once we've applied that semi-gloss varnish, because we are happy, you should get a really nice looking decal. However, in this particular case, which is a very rare occasion, the decal is just slightly raised. Now, micro sole might have been able to solve that, but I didn't use it. So how am I going to fix that raised edge? Now, you might have just followed this up until this point and you've had perfect results, that's great. But if you've got a raised edge on a flat surface, it's really not the end of the world. And you can see, you might be able to work out what I've done here by fixing this other edge. It's just slightly in shot. Once I put another varnish over the top of that, that should hide that little raised edge. So I'm grabbing my sandpaper. Now you want really, really fine sandpaper for this. So I'm using 320. This is like a finishing sort of sandpaper. And you're going to see that I'm really lightly sanding the top coat of this decal. Now what we're doing currently is we're not even touching the model. What we're doing is we're actually sanding through that varnish that we've applied. Now I've just decided to reposition my grip on the actual sandpaper. You can see that white coat that's coming off, that's actually the varnish. So we have got protection there, a lot of protection, because the varnish I use is a rattle gun opposed to airbrush, just to give me that little thicker working area and bit of protection. Now you will slowly start getting through this, and when you do, start focusing on the edges of that decal where those where those raised edges are. That is going to slowly start to disappear, and it's going to slowly start to blend in with the flat surface. And then you can use this sandpaper trick to actually weather these digits. Now obviously you're not going to have a tank that's just come straight out of the factory unless you're doing a diorama. In that case, then you might do, but you can have a combat ready tank, a tank that's seen combat. So weathering the actual numbers on the tank is a really nice method. It makes it look worn and like a veteran, and this sandpaper will slowly start getting through that decal, and it's a really nice subtle way of weathering them. And you can see that I'm using a very minute amount of sandpaper, and it's giving me control, and I'm just checking to make sure that it's not easily noticeable, that raised edge. Once I'm finished and I'm happy, I can then give it that varnish, just that little bit of varnish, just to protect the work we've just done before we continue on with washes and such. And then you should have something that looks like this. So this took 2 attempts of what we saw before. You can see it's slightly raised there, but that is going to go as soon as I put that gloss varnish over it. That gloss varnish is thick, so once I put it over the top of that, that's going to disappear, and you'll see that in the actual finished model, which will be on screen in just a moment. So yeah, it's that simple, guys. We haven't reinvented the wheel. It's just such a simple process to get that decal to adhere to a flat surface. So whether you're painting models, you've got an aeroplane or a Warhammer kit, whatever you're doing, if you're applying a decal to a flat surface, it's really straightforward. Please don't get suckered in to making it bigger than what it needs to be or getting confused. You can really get it done in no time at all, as long as you understand the process. The biggest part of this is making sure you gloss varnish the surface prior to applying the decal, and then gloss varnishing after you've applied the decal, and then that's going to get rid of that raised edge, hopefully. Otherwise you're going to have to do the sandpaper trick. But if you can see that there's a raised edge, which I could have at the start of the model, which I could have seen, so I should have seen, I should say, then I would have put some micro set down. But we'll talk about micro set in a future video. So I just wanted to make a very quick video for you guys, something that's going to be easy to follow along with, and yeah, it's going to be good for those that are beginning in the hobby or perhaps haven't really worked on decals before. I'd love to know your thoughts if you've enjoyed this little quick video / guide / tutorial. Huge thank you goes out to my patrons and YouTube channel members. Special mention goes out to Patrick, Oscar and Panzer Jim for being those Panzer aces. I'm going to leave it here, guys, and I will catch you at the next one.